Hey, it's Jordan Keneal here for the Scouting Report, and today we'll take a look at the AFL Under-18 Championships doubleheader in Geelong. First up, we had an intriguing game between South Australia and Vic Metro in really wet conditions. SA captain Adam Deloyer kicked off his day with a goal. He was really productive with 27 disposals and a lot of good work on the inside. It was an interesting start early for the forwards. Matthew Jefferson made the most of his chances with 3 goals for the day, and he even chopped out in the ruck too. Bottom age star Nick Watson was electric when he had the ball, and he also finished with 3 snags. This tap was one of the best plays we've seen from him though, just so smart. We've talked about bottom ager Nate Caddy before, and it was a typical performance from him. He's so good on the lead and he's got a great pair of hands. He kicked 3 goals, but he's definitely got some room to improve when it comes to his set shots. I thought Blake Drury was excellent. He kicked a couple of goals on the day and I loved basically everything he did. He was so clean in the wet, and even when he made a mistake, he made up for it instantly. Drury gave away a silly free kick later in the game, but then got the smother and the inside 50 to set up Jhye Clark for a goal. Mattaes Phillipou copped a big knock early in the game, but his toughness stood out. He brought the house down with the goal of the day. What an incredible championships he's had. 2 guys I want to focus on are Oli Hotton and Darcy Edmends. Hotton's had a massive championships and he was big again with 3 goals from 24 disposals. There's a lot of nice half-forward options in this draft, but it wouldn't surprise me if Hotton has overtaken a few in the queue after these last few weeks. He's super classy, he's shown that he can sneak inside 50 for marks, he does it at ground level, and he works upfield as a link-up player too. Darcy Edmends was probably the revelation of the day. He will show up well on the highlights, taking a bunch of intercepts, but his spatial understanding as a wingman was really impressive in person. He just knew where to station himself to chop off the hack kick, and he also worked really hard at both ends, covering a heap of ground. Edmends played on one wing for pretty much the whole game, while SA rotated players through that area. There was a 5-minute patch where Archie Lovelock played on Edmends, and the battle was brilliant. Lovelock put on the Jets here and left Edmends for dust, and he went on to kick this crafty goal. After that, you could see Edmends really making sure he was not only guarding space, but looking around to make sure he would cover off Lovelock inside 50 anytime the ball went in there. So we've gone all this time and we still haven't spoken about Will Ashcroft yet. Well, he absolutely looks to have widened the gap as the number 1 prospect. He had 38 disposals and did it all on the inside and outside. This goal was definitely the play that summed up his day. He's just got so much burst, and the thing that puts him ahead of everyone else is how consistently he finishes these chances with class. We'll go through a few quick hitters before we finish off this game. I thought Callum Verrall was much more composed under pressure than we've seen previously. He's a defender who racks up a fair bit of the footy. Lewis Hayes was terrific in the air and showed just how brave he can be. I'd imagine he'll have plenty of fans after that performance, and some of these marks are just super impressive. On the South Australian side, it was all the midfielders who deserve some praise. Jake Walker's tackling was impressive. He's shown that he can hit the scoreboard and work as a link-up player around the ground, so I think he's got some tricks at the next level. Billy Dowling got into the game as the day progressed, and I loved this spot-up kick to Adam Deloyer later on in the piece. Over to the Vic Country v Western Australia game now, and I want to start with a few notable players before getting into the highlights. First off, a lot of the WA talent was absent due to health and safety protocols, so we'll focus mainly on the Vic Country prospects today. It was one of Mitch Szybkowski's better games, I thought, for these championships. He won the first possession at a great rate, and his distribution by hand was excellent. What was really impressive to see was his follow-up efforts. He got the ball multiple times in passages, and then he would be the one to deliver it inside 50. He's had some moments where his kicking has let him down throughout the championships, but he really cleaned that up against WA. Oliver Hollands was really locked in across halfback. He took some strong marks and played courageously. He was one of the players that didn't really drop off at all throughout the game, and it was just a super consistent effort. He finished with 34 disposals for the day and was probably best on ground. Bottom age prospect Harley Reid was outstanding again as an intercept defender. It's a relatively new role for him, and he's absolutely flourished across these championships. The best part of his day though was this fend-off. Absolutely brutal. Aaron Cadman was superb, kicking 3 goals. I thought his work on the lead was excellent, but he also worked really hard defensively and laid a few tackles. Koen Sanchez kicked Western Australia's first goal with this nice snap. This goal from Noah Long was absurd. What an incredible finish. He was one of the players whose stock rose in my eyes. He was very productive as a small forward, finishing with 3 goals and using the ball really well. How about this sidestep through traffic from Long, and then he hands it off to Kobe Bergiel for one of his 3 goals for the day. We saw some awesome hangers on the day too. WA bottom age ruck Mitchell Edwards started off the day with a big grab. Later on, Vic Country defender James Van Ness pulled this one down. Ted Clohesy was nice with a couple of goals. He's normally a midfielder that just racks up the footy, but it was good to see him hit the scoreboard. We talked about Jacob Konstanty before as an underrated prospect, and while he didn't have a big day, it was great to see his tackling pressure stayed the same. One thing you can't see on the highlights with him is how he never gets sucked into where the ball is. He's always at the right spot, front and centre, to crumb the ball. He's got all the tools to be an interesting small forward for sure. Here's another great goal from Long, and it was great to see Cadman's bodywork in the goal square to help shepherd that one through. WA's Tyrell Dewar kicked this beauty at the end of the second quarter, while Corey Tregenza-Cashell showed more promise up forward in the third term. Jasper Scaife absolutely flushed this one from 50, but that was the last time that it felt like WA was in the game. When the match seemed all wrapped up late, Reuben Ginbey had a little reward for his efforts. And then, out of nowhere, Jhye Clark and Steely Green got into a bit of a scrap. Clark then followed it up by giving away a free kick not long after. But the day ended on a positive note for Vic Country with another goal to Ted Clohesy. Alright, that's all from the championships for a little while now, but we'll be back with another edition of the Scouting Report next week.